Hello and welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons Live. This is Fergus, and I will soon be joined by some of the guys. We are going to talk about all things Arsenal. We It feels like a defeat, but we drew against Watford on Sunday. And we're going to discuss that. We'll have the Gooner debate. We're going to look ahead to the Europa League game. And obviously, we got Villa on Sunday. So there's lots and lots to talk about. First and foremost, I am joined by Big Steve. Steve, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Good. I mean, better than the weekend. Let's put it that way.
We will get into that. We will get into that. Also joining us on episode 89 is Scunny Mike. Scunny Mike, welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Is it cold up north?
What is it with you and cold in this hat? Seriously. Let me wear a hat, man.
I'll let you wear a hat. That's all right. And
are you going somewhere formal with that shirt?
No, I've just finished work, mate. Actually, yeah. I've done a proper Arsene Wenger. I've had pizza before I come on, so I just had to check my teeth before.
Yeah, one lasagna, didn't you?
No, it wasn't lasagna. That's Tottenham. That's reserved for the Tottenham. Somebody who is not cold is all the way from the Greek island of Kos. Trev, how are you? It's dark out there now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Fergus. Pitch black, mate. It's 8:45 at night. How are you, mate? How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I had a few technical challenges, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah, I gathered that, mate. Yeah, gathered that. But yeah, looking forward to this. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not sure about looking forward to this next one. He could be absolute chaos. Manny was a character on the audio podcast. I've had a chat with Manny because we do not swear, or at least we try not to swear on the video live podcasts. And I can see the smile on his face already. Our Congolese Frenchman, how are you? Let's unmute yourself first. Yeah, no, you've muted yourself. Check your headset. I can't hear you. Check your headset. No, the button on your headset that you've got muted. Listen, you have a look at your headset. We will come back to you in a second and we'll talk to the other guys. So, before we do that, what I would like to discuss and talk about, a fellow podcaster of ours, Terry, Gooner Trev in Australia, got very ill last Thursday, and they thankfully I did get an update that he's out of coma, and he's got a long battle against ahead, but he did have 10 hours of surgery on an operation on his heart. His heart was bleeding into his body and filling his body with blood. He had a 5% chance of surviving that operation, and thankfully he survived the operation, even though his wife did say goodbye to him. And only today did we get an update that he was put into an induced coma, but he was struggling to come out of it. But he has come out of coma. He's recognizing people. He's breathing on his own. So it's really good. Hey, listen, we just we do wish you very, very well. So Gooner Tez from the Clock End Talk, get well soon, mate. Okay. So getting back to the boys, this is really hard to do all this stuff together, you know that. Let's get the boys on and let's start talking about football. So, Scunny and
Right.
Steve, let's see if we can talk to Manny. Have you sorted your microphone out, Manny?
I hope so. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So, introduce yourself, Mr. Controversial Manny, as you were. And why haven't you got a shirt on? We have got some etiquette here. I've got a shirt on. The boys have got Arsenal apparel, and you've got a vest on.
So? Does it really matter?
Not really. Not really.
No, I was rushing a little bit, so no time to do all of that.
Okay. Listen, what we are going to do is we are going to talk about the Watford game, and as we said, we're going to try and keep it nice and clean and nice and polite because there's no swearing on here, Manny. I actually have to talk to myself on this as well. But I'd also like to ask people to join our YouTube page because after Christmas, these will also be going live on YouTube as well. So do join our YouTube page. It's Guns and Yellow Ribbons, so you'll be able to see us on there. And also on Spotify and Spotify and all podcasting platforms. Johnny from the North Bank, he also puts on the preview show. So have a listen to his preview show. He done a preview show ahead of the Watford game. He's looking at doing one tonight for the Frankfurt game. So we'll only skip over parts of that. And he'll do one ahead of the Villa game. But let's look back to what we had on Sunday. First of all, before we start, little Joseph is watching. Now that's made me nervous. Hello, Joseph. You all right, mate? Up the Arsenal. And
that's Joseph, is it? Oh,
yeah, Joseph. Well, that's that's Siobhan, his mum. And Joseph asked a question of you, Trev, actually, since you're on there.
Listen, just before we go on, boys, my granddaughter's watching, so I've got to say hello to Florence. Otherwise, she won't go to bed for her mum. So, hello, Florence. Be a good girl, all right? And I won't swear, I promise. If that Manny swears, I'll tell him off, sweetheart. Okay.
Okay.
Right, we got over the nice bits. Lineups for Watford. Ozil started.
Oh, God.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ozil started. A diamond formation. No Lacazette. And in the last 19 games, Aubameyang scored 5. Lacazette has scored. Aubameyang scored 11. Lacazette has scored 5 goals, and only 3 other goals from other goal scorers. So we were, without having Lacazette, it was quite a desperate thing to worry about. Since Aubameyang's Premier League debut in February 2018, Arsenal forward has been directly involved in 46 goals in all competitions, 37 goals, 9 assists. Only Mo Salah, with 53, has had more in hand at this time. So the first half, what did we make of the thing that stuck out to me first of all for the first half was the new Danny Ceballos song. Did you hear it, Trev?
Yeah, I heard it. I couldn't quite get the words though, Fergus. You could just make out Ceballos, and then watching it on the telly, couldn't quite hear what they were singing. So hopefully, I might pick that up tomorrow, when I get to Frankfurt.
I was going to say we'll go on to the Frankfurt thing, but I do hope you do get the words and that you come back to us and message the words to us on the WhatsApp group. What was your sum up of just like the first half? What did you make of the first half of the performance that we had?
Well, I thought we was all right, Fergus. We didn't miss Lacazette. We seemed to be going well, comfortable. We were under pressure, weren't we? We didn't have it all our own way in the first half, but we nicked a couple of goals. Aubameyang, you get to half time, you're 2-0 up. You cannot see anybody. You can't see us giving away them 2 goals in the first half performance. Yeah, I sat there quite happy with it all, as I said, Watford had their chances, but we were 2-0 up. I thought we were, comfortable. I thought we were going to win the game 3-0, to be honest. Yeah.
Steve, what did you make of it?
Well, I was
just the first half
when it was on. But what I saw of the first half, the first thing I noticed, as I say, I was gigging, so I was right. I mean, I was back at the pub, but I could see the TV. The first thing I picked up on was just how much of a mess our midfield looked from the get-go. Even though the fact that we were in control, we went 2-0 up before the second half, but just there was no cohesion in the midfield at all. Kolasinac and Maitland-Niles were getting forward, and then it just everything in the middle was a mess, even in the first half.
Our Congolese Frenchman, thoughts on the first half?
Cautious. I was cautious with it because I could see a pattern forming. Like Steve said, our midfield was all over the place. I'm not sure what the plan was. I'm not sure why we played a diamond, especially with Ceballos and Guendouzi. Those are not exactly their roles. Those are not what they're good at. So I thought that, it was against the run of play, both goals. I thought Watford were in it, even though they were a bit wasteful. But I was fearful for the second half, and you saw exactly why. I wasn't happy with it.
Mike,
Yes.
your thoughts on the first half briefly? We'll get into the detail of it. Just your summary of the first half.
Well, I think for the first 10 minutes we weren't really in it, and then after that we started to push on a bit more. But I agree with what Manny just says there. I wasn't really liking the formation at all. That diamond formation just doesn't work for a game like Watford anyway.
Okay. Trev, we're looking at the first goal. I'll bring you all back in actually on this one. So looking at the first goal, Ceballos' tackle on the halfway line, which he gave to Kolasinac, who got the assist for Aubameyang. And what a turn and shoot that Aubameyang had there. What did you guys think of it? Trev, do you want to go first on that one?
Yeah, well, as I just said, it came against the run of play, didn't it? And it was typical on the break stuff, wasn't it? And Aubameyang did what he does best when he plays down the middle. Not out wide. He put the ball in the back of the net, and away we went. Yeah, I'm just trying to. Do you know what? I can't remember the build up to the goal. I'm getting old, boys. My brain cells.
We're on the far side of the pitch. I think it's the right hand side of the pitch. We lost the ball, and Ceballos ran back and tracked back, made a tackle. It went to VAR. And Ceballos made the tackle, and then Kolasinac picked up the loose ball and went up the other end and put it into Aubameyang. Manny, what did you make of it?
Good goal. Nothing to complain about. I like that little bit of nastiness from Ceballos to get in there and get the ball back. It wasn't a foul. I don't know what VAR doing what VAR does, but good play all round. I didn't have any complaints whatsoever considering the pattern of play. So yeah, it was good.
Steve, the second goal. If you look at the second goal with Ozil, who didn't do very. Yeah, Ozil put the ball through to Maitland-Niles, and Aubameyang. There was 20 passes in the build-up to that game. Aubameyang's second goal for the Arsenal against Watford was the longest passing sequence in the leading goal in 2019-2020, the Premier League campaign so far. What did you make of that goal?
Well, I saw that one live, and I messaged the guys when it happened because I couldn't see whether it was Ceballos or Ozil that put the ball through. But he sort of did I mean, credit where it's due. Didn't see him much for the majority of the time he was on the pitch. He popped up then, led to a goal, but he had a nice little almost a half dummy, put the ball through to Maitland-Niles, and he had an easy job in squaring it, which he did very well. I just think that showed, when we can keep possession or when we can sort of put them on the back foot, we're dangerous going forward, and we know this. We've said this for months and months, but ultimately it's. We took our chances then, the few chances we had, and we got 2 goals, but then, it fell apart as soon as we get on the back foot.
Yeah. And that was a great start, but we could see the cracks happening. I think there was a point when Guendouzi starts to fluff on the edge of the box. Did that show signs of the issues that we've got with passing out from the back? Trevor, what did you think on Guendouzi's performance? Because to be honest, I'm not a fan of. Saying I'm not a fan of Guendouzi would be wrong, but I have criticised Guendouzi and not said that he's. Hang on, I can see Mike in the background. Go on.
Mike, you knew this was coming, didn't you? Mike,
You
knew
love him really, and
Yeah.
I know you do. You just love to hate. That's your problem. And I know you love Guendouzi, and you had to give him the benefit of the doubt the other week when I mentioned it to you.
I thought he had a good game against Tottenham. I thought he was. I thought he was very active in the Watford game. I think Watford targeted him. Watford targeted him.
Look at him; he's struggling. I love it.
Why
He's
is everybody
struggling.
giggling, Fergus? Why is everybody
He's
giggling?
struggling.
I don't know. Look, I'll be talking about
struggling.
yourselves.
He's struggling.
He's
Yeah, that's it.
struggling.
Go
That's
away.
why.
Yeah, go away.
It
Hide
made me
behind
laugh
your
on the fans forum, the match positives when he put Guendouzi had a good game. I was just like, his worst game after weeks of us praising him, and he turned around and says that Guendouzi had a good game. It's like, what are you watching, Ferg? What are you watching?
Cyclops,
Can-
man. He's blind, bro.
Can you blame Guendouzi for that goal, though? Can you blame
No.
Guendouzi? You can't, can you?
No.
No, you can't.
If we're going into the second half, where the goals and we conceded, and we might as well move on onto that area. VAR was unavailable at the very start of the game. There was apparently a fire alarm at VAR Central. 53
Fire alarm in a van.
out of Heathrow somewhere. 53 minutes in, I rewatched the game the following on Monday morning on Match of the Day, and at 53 minutes in, cleverly hits Rose Ed. The Match of the Day commentator says Watford look like they have a total lack of confidence. They are not in this game at all. And from that restart, we concede our first goal. And Trev, you asked, is Guendouzi to blame? Do you think he's to blame?
No, Fergus. I most definitely don't, mate. I'm not going to say Guendouzi had his best game because we all know he didn't, right? But this is the way they're all playing football this way now. These Premier League teams, they play this ball out short from the back, and what's happening? All the opposition, they're high press, and they're going to give goals away. I don't know why they do it. I mean, I'm not a football brain man, you know. I'm a supporter, but I can't work out where the benefits are in these short balls from the back. I mean, City got done as well, didn't they, at Norwich? You know, with the same situation.
And Liverpool.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and Liverpool. So I don't know what's going on with this short ball, but the trouble is with us as well is that we've got to be honest. Our defenders, they're average, aren't they? They're not the best defenders in the world. They're average, and I don't think they're skilled enough to get away. They're going to get away with it 90% of the time, but that one time they get caught out, it's leading to goals. You know, so yeah. I can't figure out why this short ball. It just invites the high press now. The opposition know what's going on, and they're on top of them. Yeah. I don't know what
Trev,
the lads think, but
we've got the words to the Danny Ceballos song. He drinks a Stella, he's paella. The boys magic. Thank you, Rebecca. Really appreciate that. What tune is it to as well? If you could let us know, that would be fantastic as well. But Manny, you're a very big critic of Arsenal when they do things wrong.
Yeah.
And in this situation, they did do something wrong. Who is to blame? Is it the manager, the tactics, a particular player? Who do you reckon?
All of them. It's the tactics, because clearly the players are being instructed to play that way. It's the players on the pitch, because there's nobody on that pitch to tell them, you know what, let's vary the play a little bit. You know, let's do something different. Let's try to go out to Kolasinac or go out to Maitland-Niles. I blame everybody for this one, and I blame Socrates as one of our most experienced players to be that stupid, to be that lackadaisical, to not see the play and see what's going on. No, it's unforgivable. I don't give a. Oh, that was I almost did it. But his Twitter message afterwards, I'm like, you know what? There's no point for this. There's no point at all, because the damage has been done. So to say that, oh, you know, I'm sorry. Listen, the best way you can say sorry is by not doing it again.
But
At least, you got to look at it this way, though, haven't you? At least he held his hands up, unlike our captain,
Sure.
for instance.
absolutely. I was going to say the last couple of weeks with. sorry.
Go on, Steve.
Last couple of weeks, what we've seen on Twitter is the word accountability thrown about. And I think for Socrates to come out and say, put his hands up, yes, the ideal thing would have been for him to not have to put that message. And, but he's not only taking, blame for the first goal. He's saying, my mistake cost us a result. And because of that goal being given away, gave away the pressure. So he's not just said, I'm sorry for letting in a goal. He said, this is my fault. And as Scunny said, look at Xhaka. Blaming it on the forwards, and now Aubameyang turning around and saying that they're giving away goals for fun. It seems like there's a real.
If blame must be apportioned to anybody, I'd actually blame Socrates of anybody. But it's almost not his fault to a certain degree. I know Harry from your biggest fan. You're the biggest fan of Harry, aren't you? He was on Same Old Arsenal, and he mentioned that he watches them play for Greece all the time. And he is not one for passing out from the back. This change, no. I've been having a chat with a few guys as well about the change in the rule, and now that we allow our own players in the box when a goal kick has been taken, it means that players are now, like, we were passing out to the 18-yard line before. We're now passing out to the 6-yard line. And, why invite trouble by passing the ball to the 6-yard line and then passing across in front of your goal to Guendouzi or to whoever? Also, why pass it to Socrates, who can't pass, who has got no ball distribution, where you've got David Luiz, who could actually put a ball on a 50-pence piece?
Tactics, Fergus.
The wrong tactics. Do you really think it's tactics?
Yes. Yeah, tactics. They've been told to do that. They're abiding by a rule that they've been told to do. This is why they kept on doing it. It was stupid to keep doing it when you can see, I think even the players could see that it's an issue. So surely by then, you need to hoof it upfield. You can't just keep passing it from the back. Now, that's why I think they've been told to do that and keep being told, look, you can't hoof it upfield, you can't hoof it upfield. But is there a law now to say that you can't hoof it upfield? I don't know. It just seems to me that Arsenal has that law.
Look, I've got a question. I've got a question. Sorry, Trev.
No, go.
Isn't it the player's responsibility on the pitch to see what is going on and to take it upon themselves to think of a solution? Why does it have to come from management who Leno chooses to pass to? Why can't it be Leno or the players themselves to make that decision and go, you know what, you pass it here, you do this, you do that? Why does it have to come from management?
Absolutely, Manny. Absolutely correct, matey. I wasn't going to use those same words, but exactly the same, mate. Socrates has got that ball, right? And if it don't matter if he's been told he's got to play this short ball. Surely when he looks up and he sees a player within 2 foot of Guendouzi, then he takes things into his own hands. And he don't do that. He looks for the other options. And if the other option, the only option, is the long ball, that's much better than giving away a goal, which is exactly what we did,
Exactly. And for me, you can blame management, you can blame the players, you can blame whoever you want, whoever you choose to blame. But for me, it's a collective, because this is a team effort, isn't it? It's not just the manager who gives orders. There needs to be leaders on the pitch. And the scary thing about this for me is that the leaders on the pitch, or the supposed leaders on the pitch, are the ones that are making the biggest mistakes.
Do we have a leader on the pitch?
We don't. And the ones who you would point to, because of their age and because of the amount of football they've played over the years, they're the ones making the mistakes, Fergus.
And you talk about tactics, and you talk about like we're 2-1 up at the minute. You talk about tactics. Ceballos, I mentioned earlier, had a great tackle, as I said, on the halfway line to get that second goal. At just 7 minutes after They equalise. The manager then makes some substitutions. Ahead of that, though, we had 14 errors that led to goals since the start of the reign of Emery. I don't know what the root cause of that is. I really struggle to understand what the root cause. Again, it might be go back to leaders and what leaders we got, but the substitutions that were made. We took off Ceballos. We took off Guendouzi, and we took off Ozil. Ceballos came off on 67 minutes for Willock because he was too hot, apparently. I wouldn't have taken. So he wouldn't have been my first choice to take off. I would have taken off in the first instance. I would have taken off Ozil. That would have been the first one I would have chosen. I then Guendouzi probably because I think he was getting a bit found out, and we needed a bit of needle in the middle with Torreira. But Torreira has not been the Torreira we knew of the beginning of last season.
But look at where he's been playing.
What's that?
Look at where he's been playing.
Go on, expand.
Look at how he's been playing.
He's not, and that he's not been playing in front of the back four. He's been playing either side of Xhaka. I don't think we've played a 4-2-3-1 yet this season, but he hasn't been playing in that deeper role. He's been pushing forward. And look at when he came on against Watford. He had a cracking shot at goal, but what is he doing that high up? He is our only defensive midfielder in the squad, and he's taking shots at goal, to be fair, better than our forwards have been. How does that make sense? You either play if he's going to play in a box-to-box role, you put someone and you keep them deep. You don't play a diamond and have them either side and have everyone trying to get forward and all over the place because it's a mess.
Couldn't agree more.
Go on. You were going to say, Mike?
I said I couldn't agree with him more there. What they're doing with, I'm going to say, sorry, mate. What they're doing with Torreira is, or what we're doing with Torreira, is what Chelsea did with Kante last season. Which is playing him in the total wrong role that he's fit for.
And Ryan says about Torreira has no confidence because his manager isn't giving him any confidence. We will talk on the manager once we finish the game in a couple of minutes, but that is definitely on our debating point. And is that when you end your cameo then, Manny? Are you staying for the duration?
Well, I almost slipped up once.
Yeah, you did. You're doing all right. You're doing all right. Listen,
I do want to remain for the duration, though. I'm enjoying it.
David Luiz conceded the third penalty in a row, the 10th penalty given away since the start of last season.
Breathe.
Bring back Mustafi. Bring back Mustafi.
No, Trev, come on.
Who's given away most goals this season? Who's given away most goals?
Mustafi hasn't played yet, which I'm glad he hasn't. Otherwise, it would be completely different. But I agree with Steve. What Steve just said there.
We're playing the ball out from the back. Everyone said, "Oh, but his Chambers going to be fit to play centre back." He was playing all last season as a DM. Even better, if we're playing a ball-playing centre back, why not have a player that's had a full season playing in front of the back four, going forward, sitting there, passing the ball? Makes perfect sense. But no. Good evening, everybody. Doesn't want it to happen.
Couldn't agree more.
That should be Luiz's role. That should be Luiz's role, the defensive mid.
But the problem with David Luiz is, yes, he plays the ball well generally. Hasn't for us yet. He plays the ball well when he's playing in a back three with two centre-backs that can defend. If he's being asked to play the ball and defend, you can't do it. He does not have the capability, and we've said that season after season and mocked Chelsea for it when he's played in a back four. Which is why they took Azpilicueta from a left back to a centre back.
Quick question. Somebody mentioned on Arsenal Fans Forum about Luiz and the penalty, and said that our attacking play, our midfield vacated, and as we know, he is not a defender by trade. He is a midfielder, defensive midfielder, as you said, Trev. He made a rash tackle, which he does, and he conceded a penalty, which he does. are other players on that pitch at fault for him making that tackle? If you follow what I mean, Trev.
No, they're not, because it was the bloke was going across him. There was a bit of cover inside him, and he just hung his leg out. Now, if that player doesn't go down from that contact in a physical sense, that player went down from that contact because it's professional football. They feel a touch and they're gone these days, you know. And Louise should know better than that. Louise is a man of considerable experience. He should know. He plays that position for years. He should know if he hangs a leg out, if he touches that bloke, he's on the floor. And it's going to be 90% a penalty. He shouldn't make that tackle, Fergus. He should, if he lets him get a shot off, he should let him get a shot off. But he can block, you know. No way should he hang that leg out like that. Not a chance.
Okay. And towards the end of the game, we're hanging on against bottom side Watford. Decore and Sarr, they're number 23, I think his name is Sarr, cut through the Arsenal midfield like a hot what's the phrase go? Like a hot knife through butter. Yeah. And thankfully, Leno made a great save on the 92nd minute. Otherwise, Watford, did they deserve 3 points?
On the balance of play, yeah. They did. That second half was so poor. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was so easy. We are so open. And I do not understand, what is it going to take for somebody in that club to take the powers that be by the horns and go, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. We should not be this open. Not against Watford, not against anybody. It was horrible. I was sitting with my missus, who's United, and the smugness.
You know what? I think that was the reason why it's even more damaging, because of what other teams did around the league. You know, on that particular game, this was the first time in 22 meetings across all competitions that Watford and Arsenal have drawn against each other. The last time was in December 1984. Steve, Manny, Mike, were you born in 84?
I wasn't. No. I'm a baby. I'm a baby.
What about me?
Trev, I think it's quite obvious the two of us were.
Pension in 84. What?
Oh,
Yes, I was born the year before 84.
But you know what, boys?
Okay.
Manny's right, Fergus. Anyhow, I mean, the last 20 minutes of that game, if we're honest, and everyone knows I hate talking down about my wonderful club that I support, there was only one side going to win that game if anyone was going to win it. And it weren't us boys, was it? You know,
I think cleverly in this
30 odd chances, was it, Fergus? They had, I think.
31 stopped.
You're looking at my script, aren't you? You're looking at my script. It said Watford had 31 shots, which was a record for Arsenal, who have never faced more shots since Opta stats began. That's 2% of all the shots in the Premier League over the weekend came from Watford. As I said earlier, since the start of last season, Arsenal players have made a combined of 14 errors leading to opposition goals in the Premier League, at least 2 more than any other club in this time. And bear in mind, we're meant to be a top 6, top 4 contending side. Also, no side has conceded more goals via penalties in the Premier League than Arsenal. 10, level with Brighton, with the Gunners already having conceded 3 this season alone. And Arsenal have faced more shots, 96 this season, more than any other team in, get this, the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, and the Bundesliga.
So I'll ask again, what's it going to take? What's it going to take? What's it going to take before we see something different? Because it looks like to me we're going backwards. It seems to me that I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to. What the hell's going on? What is this?
Here you go. On here, I've written down playing out from the back. Do we have a plan B? We all criticised Wenger, didn't we? Many of us criticised Wenger for no plan B. And we've done the Watford game. And we're now getting to the general debate from that around the manager, some of the questions and stuff to do with Arsenal, Emery, and so on. Like Donna Potsy's mum, asked about Xhaka, which we'll talk about.
No.
I asked the question: Is Emery tinkering around too much? Does he know his starting 11? You know, who wants to take the first one? Do you have a plan B? Go on.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. It's obvious. It was clearly obvious against us in the second half against Watford. There was no plan B. This is why he was still playing out from the back.
Well, you see, Leno did start playing the odd long ball, didn't he? After the mess, the hash of the goal, he did. In fairness to Leno, he did seem to take it into his own hands once or twice, and he launched it up the pitch. And
Trev, sorry, he did go long, but normally when you go long, your back line moves up the pitch, and Match of the Day demonstrated this quite well. They still stood back on the 18-yard line. So a ball went up to Pepe. Pepe took the ball down on his chest or whatever, he lost the ball, but that happens. That's normal. Because the defensive line was so far back, they lost control of the midfield again, and they just cut through our midfield continuously the whole time.
Yeah, agreed. I do agree. Yeah, I didn't notice that with the back four not pressing up behind the long ball, Fergus. If I'm honest, I didn't watch it on Match of the Day. I watched it live, and that's the only time I've seen it. So I was probably too busy pulling out what little bits left of my hair by then to notice that, mate. But there's not a plan B, is there really? I was pleased that Leno took it into his own hands, but it obviously didn't help much, did it? Come on, raise it a bit, boys. I'm getting down here.
There was a thing but up there on Trev, and it says Leno was in world class by Andy Kowanakis.
No, I don't think anyone's even said he is world class.
No, okay. None of us have. No, I think he's had a decent season. He's had a decent season so far, and lads, I think he has.
In all fairness, I've got nothing to fault him with. The only fault I have is the defence. It's not his fault the defence is so poor. It's the same as last season. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. A goalkeeper is only as good as his defence. If he's got no one in front of him, or if he's got people in front of him making stupid mistakes like Socrates did, and Xhaka has done many times, and Louise, what chance has he got?
Mm-hmm. Bringing Manny back in. Manny, your thoughts on Leno? Is that your better side?
No, it's not.
Leno, is he world class?
No, we can't deem him world class. Not yet. No, he has to be consistent. Do this on a consistent basis, and then we have that conversation. We would say a goalkeeper is only as good, and that defense, I don't care who you put in that concede.
But that defense is pointed up by a CDM, and that's who protects and is the first line of defense. And Xhaka, again, remember this is a family show. Xhaka, Donna said. Xhaka said the team were scared in the second half. Is that a translation issue that he had? Is that just an incorrect choice of words, or is it a stupid thing to alert other teams to? But no respect, scared of Watford. Why should we be using words like scared and Xhaka even starting?
Xhaka shouldn't be starting.
No.
This guy's an idiot. He's an idiot. He is an idiot. Who is allowing this dude to go into the press conference and actually talk? The guy can barely play. He's got half a brain, and we're letting him speak. This is the second interview he's done in the last couple of weeks, where you're wondering what through his head, and I am struggling so hard with this. Xhaka's not a CDM. He's barely a footballer. All right. So if you're going to insist on having Xhaka in the team, which Emery is doing, then you need somebody next to him who's going to do the graft. If you watch that game again, Xhaka is so slow, so unathletic. He's useless at everything else bar a long pass. So what do? You stick somebody next to him who's going to do that dirty work, and you're going to allow him to play to his strengths, which is passing the ball. We're not doing that. He can't defend. He hasn't got the athleticism to play that CDM role, and to ask him to cover that blade of grass, he's not going to be able to do it. We're scared. To say that we're scared proves Dini right, and it gives other teams exactly what they want from us.
You've also got on there when you say he can pick a pass out, but Guendouzi can pick a pass out, and he's a hell of a lot better footballer than Xhaka.
I'm just pointing out what Emery sees.
Well, I don't know what he sees. Surely, how can he see a captain in that?
That was the question. First of all, captain, leave that aside. But is Emery tinkering too much? And does he have a basis of a starting 11, even if it's starting 8? And then you could rotate certain players. I can understand some rotation depending on our opposition, but he doesn't. Does he have a starting 8? So do you have? We're keeping you up, Steve.
I've been getting up at 6:30 every morning to take my sister.
Really? That's late,
mate.
Such a nice guy.
Yeah, she's paying me. But maybe for you guys, you're up nice and early to get your pensions, but but no, right. I think honestly he does have an idea, and I think that's why we're seeing Xhaka, Socrates, Luiz, Kolasinac. I mean, he's in a bit, he's up against the wall in terms of fullbacks. But Aubameyang, I think he's got an idea, but what he doesn't have an idea on now is because our midfield has got, you've got Willock, who's a box-to-box, grafter. You've got Xhaka, who... What is
useless?
Xhaka? You got Torreira, who he wants to be running up and down the pitch, but he's very good in a defensive role. You've got Guendouzi, who's a real sort of jack of all trades. How do you balance that midfield with the attack that he's now got? That's his problem. We've seen what? So in 5 games, he's played, I think, three different formations. He's played the diamond. He's played a 4-3-3 with a flat 3. He's played. What did he play? What did we go against Liverpool? That was a 4-3-3.
That was a diamond as well at Liverpool. He gave up the diamond. It seems if he's got a very strong forward line, he's willing to forego the flanks to try and keep the forward line in place. And at Liverpool, I type understood the gamble, but at Vicarage Road, I didn't really understand the gamble.
I didn't get on the weekend playing Pepe as a central striker. We're saying give him time. We're saying give him a bit bit of slack. But Pepe was best last year in League One, coming in from the right hand side, playing balls in, going from set pieces, taking on defenders. He's not doing that as a central striker because the service isn't there. We all give Aubameyang a free pass when he's playing out wide because he's not a wide man. Pepe is not a central striker either. So having 2 strikers playing up front, Pepe isn't known for his hold-up play. So why is he playing as a second striker against Aubameyang, who feeds off of somebody like Lacazette giving him the ball? There are issues there that Emery really needs to address. If he's going to tinker with the midfield, do that, but make sure you're getting at least one area right. And whilst we haven't got Holding or a proper centre back next to Papa, then you've got 3 areas in that field that aren't right.
So question for you then, Steve. You said Holding next to Papa. Is that what your Holding Socrates would be your favourite pairing rather than Holding Luiz?
If they were fit, absolutely. I honestly, I do not want to see Luiz, for a while. Like, if he's going to play him in a back 3. But we have to have a player that is comfortable moving the ball, but comfortable tracking back in the air defensively and got a good head on him.
But David Luiz has won the Premier League, the Champions League. He's won lots. He's a leader.
Yeah, but didn't I'm trying to think of the little guy that used to play. Yeah, Phil Jones has won the Champions League, hasn't he?
No.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
there's some shocking Man United players that won the Champions League. So to use that as an example, I think when you've seen blunders,
I'm not using it as an example. I'm using it as a fact.
Yeah, obviously it is a fact, but it's an example that you're. Yes, he's won those things.
It's a fact.
He's won.
He should be. We talked about a leader. He should be the leader that
He's not. He wasn't last year at Chelsea, and he's not shown that anywhere near that at Arsenal.
Okay. My grandson has just put on the comments he's got to go. His battery's run out. So see you later, Joe. Have a nice evening. Get to bed soon. No playing Fortnite till 1 o'clock in the morning like you did on Friday night. Yes.
At least it's Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday, I suppose. It's not on my rules. So other things we got. We touched on Willock. Willock has extended his contract. I think he's got, is it 3 or 4 years extension on his contract? Anybody know exactly?
I think he had 2
4
years
years.
left, didn't he?
4 years.
It's on 4 years.
Which is fantastic. The guy's been doing quite good, I think, don't you? He's had a couple of rusty moments, but that's probably lack of experience somewhere along the line, and he will gain that experience in the more first team places he gets. But there's another guy. Is it Sam Greenwood?
Sam Greenwood.
Steve. You knew a bit more. You sent us a message through on that. He signed a new contract as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. I think he's 17 or 18, but striker. He's playing at the moment with the under-21s. I saw him a couple of years back at a training session at the Stadium of Light. I took the nephews over, and he was playing for Sunderland. And I was speaking to a guy there, and he was saying that him and Ballymumba have been doing bits for Sunderland. So when I saw last summer that he signed for Arsenal, I thought, right, well that's good. Had obviously a bit more of a look in. Serial goal scorer for England age groups, and last year for the under-18s scored a lot of goals. Scores from set pieces. Seems to get the odd header. I think Nathan's just summed it up.
Very good point.
And Ozil as well. Sorry, on that note, Ozil was a serial winner. And
please.
Anyway.
Okay, so you've done me. You've done me. Go on, yeah.
Yeah. So Sam Greenwood, he's a real promising striker. And he's just signed his first professional contract with us. He's been having a decent season so far, and looked good in the game against Boreham Wood as well when he played. I think him and John Gills coming through. I think they're going to be the two strikers that we see in the next few years. I think if they're going to make the step up.
And Jeff, Dan Harry has just come along. He's running the show on Champions League right now.
Listen, boys, you're talking about all these players that have come to Arsenal as previous winners, right? Louise, we mentioned. Ozil, we mentioned. Lichtsteiner, we mentioned. Are we just a club that ruins these players then, or what? Do we just bring good players in and just totally ruin them then? Is it us, the club? Well, no, I don't think we do, but I don't. From my personal view at the moment, is the way where we are right now is that, and we touched on it earlier, is we're making mistakes and we're not learning from them. Right, the plan B. We go back to that. There doesn't seem to be a plan B. Right. Louise has given away 3 or 4 goals, silly goals. Let's look at where else we play him then. We don't want him giving away goals all season. Don't forget, this was Watford at the weekend. Mm-hmm. It weren't Liverpool or City. It was Watford who had 1 point from 4 games. Haven't troubled anybody. And they've scored 31 goals against us. So we need to be looking at, from my perspective, we need to be looking at getting Louise out of that back four.
Absolutely.
Getting him out of that back four. And if we're going to play him up the field. And to be honest with you, I'd rather see him playing up the field a little bit, right? Rather than Xhaka. Kick Xhaka out. Put Louise
I wouldn't even put him there. I think, as I touched on earlier on, if we're going to play a centre-back, which, Louise has played the majority of his career as a centre-back, if we're going to play a centre-back in midfield, why not put in Chambers? He fantastic there last season. And he's going to be around longer. Louise is here for what? 2 seasons? I think if you're going to play a centre-back in midfield, but if you're going to play a centre-back in midfield, play Chambers.
Listen, we got so many different issues, right? And then we can talk about them until the cows come home. Emery, we need to start asking serious questions. I know people are saying, give him 10 games and let him have all these players fit. Cool. But he's not maximizing the potential of the players that he has now. He's not playing them to the fullest of their ability. He is making clear errors that you and I can see. So I don't know what he is seeing here. There is no leadership. There isn't a structure. I'm struggling to understand how after a year you still do not know what works. You've been with the majority of these players for that time, so you know who's good, you know their strengths, you know their weaknesses. So why are you playing them to the point that their weaknesses are shining so brightly? There's something that he's not doing. That Watford game turned the tide for a lot of people, me included. I don't want him gone yet, but I'm asking some serious questions. He needs, in the next 5 to 10 games, to grab this team, maximize their potential. I know they're not the best players, but they're good at something. So get that out of them, win some games, and get the boo boys off your back. Because right now he's giving them a reason to be on his case.
Okay. Okay. I agree. After the Watford game and the substitutions and the tactics and so on, I want to support the manager or the head coach. I'm not for shouting for his head like social media. You've been on Fans Forum, we're on Twitter, we've been on Guns and Yellow Ribbons, on the chat groups, on the various threads, and some of it is just like it's like Wenger out all over again, but light.
No,
Wenger out light. No. I know. Trev, I'm with you. I don't want to see that again. But there's a lot of people, and quite a lot of them are overseas fans, I suppose, and they watch football from afar, and they see the media show that is around football, and there's quite a lot of them that are saying there are a few that are saying within the UK and closer to the stadium to change the manager sooner rather than later, and they're saying bring in Mourinho.
Oh,
you're not
you almost
allowed.
had me there.
We're not allowed to swear. Yeah.
Oh,
Said
you
the
almost
M-word.
had me there. Oh.
I tell you, right, these people that are calling for Mourinho, right? They're right. And I may get some stick for this, but they're virgin on being idiots, right? They're virgin.
I'm not virgin, Trevor. I'm sorry, but they are, mate. The biggest
That's
two.
being nice.
No. What are
The
their
biggest
memories
two-
like? Don't they remember what a Messi made at Manchester United? Don't they
The
remember
biggest
what a
two
Messi
idiots
made at
called
Chelsea?
Mourinho.
Say it again, Scunny. Say it again, Scunny, please.
Yeah, the biggest two idiots calling for Mourinho is Adrian Durham on TalkSport and Heavy D.
Oh,
Now, come
Oh.
on. Seriously.
See, I
This
saw a
guy
video
carries
earlier
a belt.
on,
Now, I
and-
know we're live here, and I know we can't swear and everything else, but please, to God, if someone sees Heavy D in the street, take that belt off him, please.
Oh, you know what? It's not just the
called
belt.
for Marino, has he? Has he really been? I don't watch the man. I
Yeah.
won't give the man a second of my time.
When I first
You know.
heard it, I hadn't seen it anywhere. I hadn't seen it on Sky Sports. I hadn't seen it on BT Sports. So I thought I'd have a look before we started doing this. And the biggest two people that I could find on Google is Heavy D calling for him and Adrian Durham on TalkSport. Now, come on, they're the biggest two idiots going, aren't they?
Well,
surely?
and Mike, you know why that is?
Understand,
The
Adrian
two
Durham.
people that are trying to get other people to phone in on 0898, whatever number it is to talk sport, or get bloody Instagram followers. That's all
I get that. I get that exactly. The two idiots, and let's face it, one of them wears a bloody afro hat and the belt, for God's sake, and the other one just talks absolute. I won't say it on TalkSport. So.
Right, so none of us want Maureen with us then, and I don't think any.
Hell no!
I don't think any people in the chat want either. Looking around the league a little bit, and we'll touch then on Frankfurt because Trev, you're going to Frankfurt. We'll have a chat with you about that. We've got about 5 or so minutes, and we're going to be done. 5, maybe 10. Other results: Man City got beaten by Norwich. Wow,
What a shame.
yeah.
Next.
That's it. You nailed it, haven't you?
Well.
Oh well.
I'm devastated.
That what's his name? Buki. Pookie, what a great player he is. We touched on him, I think, on one of the audio podcasts. But you know what was even better? One of the commentators, I think it might have been on TalkSport, was quite topical because you got Peaky Blinders out at the moment, and he went, "He's a Pookie Blinder." That was a great line.
Right.
No, that's kind of cool.
I'm out.
That's corny. That's corny.
Palace went to White Hart Lane, or the Tottenham Stadium, or whatever it's called. I expected more from Palace because Palace had beaten Man United at Old Trafford. They've been quite good on the road. I did think that we might get a little bit of turn up for the books, and that they may get a. I thought it would have been a 2-1 game, and I didn't know which way it was going to go. I was just hoping it was going to be 2-1 to Palace. I started watching the first 20 minutes or so, and I went 3-0, and I went, fuck it.
Yes! Yes!
I knew you were worried about me and Manny.
Success!
Well done, mate. Congratulations. We love it. I thought I was going to get some Al Guendouzi, but
I thought sod this, and I went to the pub instead. And West Ham had the
Davina
opportunity.
McCall messed up, man. Davina McCall messed up.
But like the auto cue is still going, so and West Ham had the opportunity to go level, level Man City. And they could have gone on to 10 points, and they blew it as well. But I tell you what, there is a shout out needed for the Arsenal women. The Arsenal women. I watched the last 20 minutes with
United,
Dan. Yeah, they won. It wasn't the best game. Dan, Harry, and myself were on Messenger together at the same time. It wasn't the best game in the world, but DVD, she come good again. So that was excellent. And we're going to try and work something out with Dan, and maybe we do a 10-15 minutes sort of either preview or post-match sort of thing with regards to. Will you stop smiling? Look at him, he's smug as hell.
After all the grief you gave me backstage and the conversation that we had, It is an amazing feeling to have you mess up right on
it. Trev, you're on tonight, is it, or is it in the morning?
I'm flying.
That you leave.
I'm flying tomorrow morning, mate. I'm very lucky because at this time of year you can get direct flights from Kos to Frankfurt. So the game has fallen perfectly for me. Straight on a plane in the morning, 3 hours, I land in Frankfurt. And I've been told that it's Oktoberfest in Frankfurt while we're there. So if you don't hear from me for a few days, boys, don't worry, I won't be unhappy.
No, you know what? You know what? If it was anything like Baku, I will hear from you at about 11 o'clock at night, and you won't remember any of it.
I know. How bad was I then? Sorry, boys. Sorry, Fergus. I'm excited about it because it's my first game of the season, Fergus. I've not seen the boys play yet, so I'm right up for it. My bag's packed by the door. Can't wait to see the game live again. I'm excited about it.
I so wanted to be joining you out there, but as you know, I've got lots going on back here in the UK that I need to sort out. So
yeah, we know that, mate. We know
away games are on the back burner for me. Listen, boys, I'll bring you all back in because we are about to go to a close. We're going to finish on time. It's really good. And Manny's still laughing at me. He's still laughing at me. He's still laughing at me.
Yes, I am. You deserve this.
I'll tell you what, before we go, Andy has asked about our score predictions. Let's do our score predictions for the Frankfurt game, and we'll leave the Villa game for Johnny to do later. So what do you reckon on... let's start... Scotty, let's go first with you. What's your score prediction for... I'm going to write these down, for the Frankfurt game.
I'll say 2-1 win. Arsenal win.
1-2. Steve?
2-0.
Okay. Manny?
1-0.
Not 3-1.
Nope. Hey, I got a point in the weekend, man. So,
Trev?
Yeah, I'm with Manny. I think it'll be a 1-1. I'm with Manny on that one. Yeah. Hope I'm wrong, by the way. Hope I'm wrong.
I to be honest, I think it's probably, they have played 4 games in the season. They've kept clean sheets. They've won their home games and lost their away games. So I think it could be a draw as well. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go just to be slightly different 2-2, but I think it's a draw as well. So you have been listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. It nearly was perfect. Boys, a quick thought on what do you think of this new format? Do you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
This
love
was
it.
hard,
I do. Oh, I love it. I love it because look, on the screen now, I'm in the middle of the pretty face with all you rough lookers all around me. I'm carrying you, boys.
you wish, mate. You wish.
No, it's brilliant. I love it. I love the fact that we now put faces to words. Look at all the smiling faces. And Fergus, you've undoubtedly made my night with one word tonight, and I think, yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
He's going to go to Frankfurt and enjoy his Lederhausens.
Dave Hurl, thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I've got one right here. Honestly, it's just cracked open. After that, it is.
On
It's
the
kind of
whiskey
lager.
swiftly.
Listen, you have been listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. If you like us, follow us on Facebook as you are doing and seeing us on here. But also, please, please, please follow us on YouTube, because after Christmas, this is going to go on to YouTube, and just to try and reach a greater audience. Scotty, Steve, Manny, and Trev, thank you very much. And up the arse.